used OBS before. I'm like,
hi. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the CONVO Couch. I am Fiorella, and I have Tina Berg here with me. She's awesome. She's from District 34 podcast.
Yep.
Welcome.
Nice to be here.
Yes, she is a journalist, but she's also a Twitter fiend. And we're going to go over the things
I'm trolling the New York Times today.
Yeah, we're all trolling the New York Times right now because the New York Times is just out of freaking control. They're just out of control right now. But let's get started because it was a crazy weekend. Basically, the New York Times, of course, to no one's surprise, decided not to endorse Bernie Sanders. But what they did do was even more hilarious. They decided to co-endorse Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar. So I call them WARBUCHAR because they're pretty much the same candidate. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, okay, so here's the weird thing about this co-endorsement, in my opinion. I think this harms Warren more than it helps her because she's been trying to paint herself as a Bernie Sanders replacement. So she's the female progressive candidate in the race. Klobuchar has not been campaigning as that whatsoever. She's been campaigning on a neoliberal centrist platform. Mm-hmm. She's very corporatist. She supports fracking. Exactly. You can go down. So I think that this is actually very damaging to Warren's space that she's trying to take over right now because this is not who she wants to be associated with.
Right. It equates her to Amy Klobuchar, who is a centrist. She's honest about her centrist views, though.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren, on the other hand, has attempted to paint herself as a progressive when she's actually not. And after the whole situation with Bernie Sanders and the hot mic moment, and thereafter, which we're going to go over, she went after him still after that moment. So I really think Elizabeth Warren's ploy to seem like a progressive is entirely done. No one is buying it anymore.
No. Well, I just don't think she's an honest candidate. I think she has a history of embellishing and also lying about things. I could go back again. I was very bothered by this Native American thing early on years ago.
Yes.
So I think this is just something that's new and fresh to a lot of folks. And you can't possibly tell me she didn't do it to try to help her career along because when she was at the University of Texas, she did check the white box. I'm white, right? So it wasn't until it served her purposes that she was like, I'm Native American. So, but the best line in the New York Times endorsement piece was, Warren is a gifted storyteller.
So Tina highlighted it in her tweet. She said, Warren is a gifted storyteller. And by storyteller, I mean, we're talking about an embellisher, a liar. A lot of people might get offended, but that's the reality. They were right on that, and I commend them. And I think the New York Times, again, just like Warren with exposing herself, they're doing us all a favor. They're just like, you know what? We're not even going to hide it anymore. We're going to go and support these centrist candidates or these faux progressive candidates, and we're just going to continue things as they are.
But so nobody is shocked by this, are they? Or okay, or let me say this: nobody should be shocked by this. The New York Times op-ed pages have a tradition of not being at all progressive. Right. They have always been like cheerleaders for war. The way they've always framed the problems in Israel and Palestine have always been very detrimental against Palestinian rights activists. So none of this endorsement is shocking to me. I don't think, even if Bernie Sanders was a woman, they would not have endorsed him.
No, they would have said that she's not a real Democrat.
Yeah, she's
Because, so let's look at what Bernie Sanders had to say, because Bernie Sanders said he is he doesn't take any bullshit. Can we play the clip?
Yeah,
Johnny?
I love that clip. Let's play that clip. That's a great clip.
Yeah.
No bullshit,
Look,
Bernie.
I don't tolerate bullshit terribly well. And I come from a different background than a lot of other people who run the country. I'm not good at backslapping. I'm not good at pleasantries. If you have your birthday, I'm not going to call you up to congratulate you so you love me and you write nice things about me. That's not what I do. Never have. And I take that as a little bit of a criticism, self-criticism. I've been amazed at how many people respond to, happy birthday. Oh, Bernie, thanks so much for calling.
I love it.
It works. It's just not my style. I try to stay focused on the important issues facing working families in this country, and I fight for them.
And that's what I love about Bernie, and I think that's what we all love about Bernie.
Yeah.
He's a no bullshit kind of guy. He doesn't embellish things. He doesn't care about his hair. He doesn't care about his appearance. He's always, I mean, when he ran back in 2016, that's what people really like loved about him, and that was what was most criticized about him. And I completely relate to that. Like I just like can't be fake. That is something that
He's
can't.
authentic.
Yeah.
This is it's a refreshing, I think, for a lot of voters. They're tired of being sold a line that just is meaningless. The platitudes, for one thing, or they're told that the candidate's going to do something and then they don't end up doing that. I think Obama was a game changer in that capacity because he's a guy that campaigned on hope and change, and people really believed that he was going to bring hope and change, and he didn't. So I think that was a game changer for politics, because I think going forward, progressives in particular, they're not accepting that crap anymore.
Right.
So they respond to what Sanders says because, really, what other candidate would walk into that room full of New York Times editorial staff and say, no bullshit?
I don't think any other candidate. And that's why Buttigieg.
They wouldn't have the balls to do it.
And that's why Buttigieg, I think, is the kind of guy that pretty much is the opposite of that. Like, he pretty much rubs people the wrong way because he's so fake. Kamala was another one that was like that, and people can see right through it. I don't know if you saw, but this morning all of the presidential candidates were in South Carolina. They went to a church, and then they subsequently marched for MLK Day on the streets with their arms linked up. But here is a picture which is really interesting, with Elizabeth Warren, Tulsi Gabbard, and Bernie Sanders with their backs.
Caption this.
And it says caption this. And I want, and there's a picture with Bernie right there.
Yeah.
With Liz, and she's shaking his hand. He finally shakes her hand. But this is after, we're going to watch a video. This is after they had initially shook hands, and he just went off to the side. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple other pictures. You can just scroll through the picture, Johnny. There's Tulsi and Bernie. I think to the left of Tulsi is Warren. But I want to get to the picture of Nina Warren's face. Yeah. Because I think it's further down. There's another view.
Yeah, she's in the background.
And there, I think that's where it is.
It's a good side eye.
Yeah. She's right there. And you see her face. Her face just says everything. And this is a meme that people... This is a meme. It's just hilarious. I love the internet. I'm enjoying these memes.
Isn't it great that the internet's free?
Yeah. I mean, for now. I mean,
well,
who knows?
Yeah, there's that. That's true.
Yeah, and I just love people putting in their interpretations to what's happening. And Amy Klobuchar is like, "What the hell?
The hell is this?"
And Nina's face, I just love it. And she said, "Did you call me a liar?" There's Warren and there's Tulsi, as always, painted as the one that's defending Bernie. But I want to read people's comments because some of these comments were hilarious as to what people were saying. Let me see if I can find a good one. Let's see.
This is on Twitter?
Yeah. Okay, so this one by Archer says, Tulsi, Bernie, you want to know something? Bernie, what? What's that? Tulsi, watch out for Elizabeth Warren. Let's see. There was a couple of other ones that were so good. Okay. Tulsi, know what I call her, Bernie? Bernie. No, what's that? Tulsi. Slytherin Warren. I freaking love it. There's one that was like the best one, hands
very
down.
unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's
very telling. Like I don't know why she did this. I don't know what she was thinking. It's clearly political theater. It's
clearly hilarious.
From start to finish was a fabrication that they created with CNN. I don't know how she thought in her mind that this was going to turn out well for her.
Johnny, can you read this one? Moral clarity in 2020. You don't see it? Okay. It's a little bit further down. It says, Tulsi, want to hear a joke? Bernie says, yeah. Tulsi says, the New York Times just made their first ever endorsement of a Native American. Bernie stifles NLOL. So we don't really know what was said, right? We have no idea, but we can watch the video that kind of showed a little bit of what happened.
Okay. There it is.
Quite a number of dignitaries are made here the presidential hopeful for.
Wait, not that one. that's a funny one. I want to show the whole.
I want to watch the funny one.
Quite a number of dignitaries are made here the presidential hopeful for.
Well, yeah, I mean, he really goes right past
That's pretty funny.
Warren, but there's a whole video.
Well, I mean, do you blame the guy at this point?
No, I mean, I don't, but it's really interesting. I put it in there. Oh, okay. It's really interesting though, because people have been trying to push all day this sort of, oh, it means he shook her hand. That means
Right.
we're unifying. It means we're
I have no interest in unification with these folks. Can
yeah,
I be honest?
yeah. Please tell me why
Look,
you
I
don't want
think-
to unify. We need Warren.
We don't need Warren. We need Warren's voters. And I don't think that's the same thing.
Right.
I don't want
100%.
to unify with Elizabeth Warren. I don't trust her.
Yeah.
She's absolutely shown us who she is time and time again. And I think
Yes.
people are finally realizing not somebody you can trust.
Yes.
I think we can acknowledge that and not want to unify with Warren, but still win over her voters.
Right.
And there's a way to go about that.
But I think you can win over her voters by not necessarily pandering. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
like,
agree.
I don't
I
think we
agree.
need. I don't think we need to pander. I don't think we need to pretend that this isn't a big deal. The big deal isn't what CNN and the mainstream media do. They manipulate information. They make
Right.
drama out of everything. But the big deal is the fact that Warren isn't a progressive, and she's pretty
Right.
much co-opted Bernie's entire
Platform.
campaign, his platform, his movement, and is trying to pass as a progressive. And now she can't be trusted. And
Right.
so we can't pretend that didn't happen. We can't just go back to
I can't.
before.
Yeah, I
it's not. That's just you don't. That's like giving into corruption.
Honestly, Fiorella, I still need to understand how people are okay with the Native American thing. To me, this is a white woman colonizing another's identity for personal gain. And if that's not racist, I don't know what is.
I feel like people were extremely forgiving.
Is it
about
me?
that.
I think they were
No.
too. And I know I don't understand it. I mean, maybe that's my privilege speaking. I don't know. But I really don't. I don't understand it.
I think it was because Donald Trump took the whole
Well, he was wrong
Pocahontas.
too. Yeah, I mean, he took a racist situation and then made it even more racist. But these things aren't mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
They're both. They're both a problem.
The left sometimes has an inability to separate anything Trump says. So like
Right.
if because Trump used the word Pocahontas, many people were told, oh, don't even go there because that's sexist and racist against
And
Warren.
it is.
But it's racist against Native Americans because Elizabeth Warren
yes, exactly. She
once
co-opted
again
their identity.
co-opted their
yeah.
identity. She's a regular co-opter. This is what she does.
You
And
know, and the thing is I don't think it's a family fable because some folks have tried
Yeah.
to say to me that was the case. And I said, but hold on a second. If that was actually the case, why did she first identify as a white person in her first job and then switch when it suited her to gain something under the affirmative action rules? I don't buy it.
yeah, it just seems really disingenuous in my opinion. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just play the whole thing.
Bernie Sanders is here as well. Where is Bernie Sanders just giving a handshake to some Republicans there as well. So quite a number of dignitaries are made here. The presidential hopefuls, or rather I should say the ones hoping to get the Democratic nomination for presidency are here at Zion Baptist Church. Now obviously this is a major event, a pivotal event for many people getting ready.
What does Nina's jacket say? No, just
There's no hot mic.
no. We need to get the hot mic.
I actually just want to riff this whole thing. Can I riff this?
Do
later?
it. That's what I was reading the comments like. Was he talking to Tulsi first?
Yeah, it
And
appears
then
that way.
Elizabeth Warren came in? Because that's what it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like she's the odd one out. Like, hey, come talk to me, you guys.
I just don't get it.
Well, what else is Bernie supposed to do other than be cordial? But I can tell. I don't know. I'm not like that woman we're gonna see later who's like a fucking body language expert who.
Oh, okay. Wait. So, it's funny as you bring that up, that crazy. I found a bunch of old tweets of her that were pretty hilarious, by the way. Did you
good.
see the one about the wedgie?
No, but there's an anti-vaxxer
She said,
one.
oh, no. Yeah, I saw that one. I found a better one where she said Hillary Clinton looked like she had a front wedgie when she sat down. I kid you not. I mean, so
hilarious.
that particular person is a joke. I don't know what Joy Reid was thinking
Yeah,
having her on.
Joy
We should
Reid.
probably
It's
explain to
Joy
folks what we're talking about in case they didn't see
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna pull that video up, but they're basically smearing Bernie because of his body language, saying that he's lying.
But you know what? It was beyond that. It was the whole turtling thing. She was like going, he's turtling. It was it felt very anti-Semitic to me.
Yeah, well, and he has a natural hunch right there already.
Yeah, it doesn't make him a lying Jewish person. Like, I just...
Yeah.
She was foul.
She was very, very bad. Okay, so let's just move to Jonny, the part where they were all linking arms, because that's what everybody was saying. Oh, look, they're linking arms. They've kissed and made up. There's unity. Even the group called Latinos for Bernie went out there saying, oh, this is a perfect ticket. I'm like, have you guys been paying attention to the last few days of what's going on? Like, I don't want this ticket. This ticket is horrible. So they were all marching in solidarity, all of them together. There's Tulsi, Biden, WARBUCHAR, Warren,
That's
Bernie.
That's just political theater.
Exactly. And they're all linking arms. And look at all these signs. You don't see any Bernie signs.
There's Tom.
Any
There's
Tulsi
Pete.
signs. There's
another
Warren.
Tom.
Yeah. And so it's interesting that they're the ones only up with signs. And then there's Bernie talking to Nina and another person. And then there's Warren once again, like, talk to me, Bernie. It just feels really
and the New York
strenuous.
Times article it only shows all the signs that have Pete, Warren, and Tom. But then like there's another photo where you can find the Bernie signs here. They're on the left side.
Yeah.
Behind Tulsi and Biden.
Thank you,
President Other.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. By the way, nice to see you all. I know we're a little bit later than normal, and pasta is now Tina for today. But I hope you guys don't mind very much. She's a different kind of pasta. She's funny.
I'm a different kind of pasta.
So
are we going to talk about President Other?
Yes, we are. I just want to put I want to watch a little video of Bernie dancing. I just want you guys to see because Biden looks really awkward. It's just funny. Or not Biden, Tom Steyer. I think they're just cold.
Yeah.
I think they're just cold. It's just funny.
Either that or they all have to go to the bathroom. I don't know.
One of those two things.
Or one or the other.
So Jovanka Beckles, right?
Love Jovanka Beckles.
She's great. She tweeted out this Bay Area tweet. Tina, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what happened here?
So Jovanka Beckles, if you folks don't know who she is, she ran for office against Buffy Wicks in the Oakland Bay Area. So this California election. In that particular election, Jovanka's a fantastic, wonderful human being. She would have made, I wish she would won. I'm very disappointed that she lost. But Buffy Wicks ran a very racist campaign against her. She had actually created flyers with photos of Jovanka where she'd made her skin darker.
Wow.
She went this like whole tough on crime route. Like, you want to make sure your neighborhoods are safe. Vote for Buffy. You know, I mean, even her name, Buffy, I don't know. Anyway, but so Jovanka she's a Bernie-crat. And so this is ABC 7 News. That's a local station in San Francisco Bay Area. So you should put this up, Jonny, because people really need to see this. They're showing at the very bottom of the screen the percentages of polling, like for each candidate. And you'll notice right away that Bernie Sanders isn't there. But President Other is. I mean, to me, this is probably one of the most egregious Bernie blackout things I've seen yet. I mean, I'm so stunned by it. I can't even believe. I've seen it multiple times now. I still can't believe it. They're going to put up the 6% candidate. I mean, this is asinine, and you know that they're doing this to sort of hide that Bernie's in the lead at this point. So Bernie has been polling very well in California. He's
leading in California, not by like a huge margin, but he is leading.
So the three of them are well within the margin of error.
Right.
But nonetheless, this is a three-way race right now. But I think the other thing is to keep in mind is that we have a semi-open primary here in California, and what that means is the NPP voters, which are the independent voters, can vote in the California Democratic primary.
Yeah.
This benefits us because, as you know, most independents prefer Bernie Sanders. That's the preferred candidate.
Yep.
And in the state, if you look at the data, the Democratic Party has anywhere between 26 to 27% of registered voters, and the independents they float between 43 and 46%.
Yeah.
So the vast majority of voters in the state of California are independent.
Yeah.
And these polls, the reason I bring this up, not to interrupt you, the reason I bring this up is these polls generally don't include independent voters in them. So I think once you factor in that particular point, it makes Sanders' lead stronger, I think.
It does. And the thing is, and I've been, canvassing a lot, and I've been seeing people's desire to not switch to a Democrat. I mean, we've been encouraging everybody to do so because of the problems,
safer.
and we're going to have more election integrity shows focused on that because it's so important. But she's right. The majority of Sanders supporters have always been independent, and even of the Yang Gang people, and even the Tulsi people, those people all usually are independent. They're not Democrats, and some of them refuse to register. So it's laughable for them to pretend that he should. I'm endorsing President Other.
I just honestly, it's so egregious. I still can't believe that they did this. And ABC News, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah.
Where is your commitment to veracity? This is the kind of stuff that I keep seeing from our mainstream media, corporate media, that just angers me to the bone, because these folks aren't interested in educating the population or doing any sort of public service in regards to what news is supposed to be, right? That's where our roots are supposed to be. We're supposed to be informing the public, right? These folks
propaganda.
It's absolutely propaganda. Yeah. Well, it's like the guy, I got into a fight with one of the MSNBC guys on Twitter 2 months ago. Yeah, I know, shocking. But again, he was pushing anti-Bernie rhetoric that was just not grounded in reality. So I sort of fact-checked him a couple of times, and I finally said to the guy, I said, where's your commitment to veracity? You're a journalist. And his response to me was, that's your first error. I'm not a journalist. I mean, this guy was actually admitting it. So I just quote tweeted him and I said, MSNBC, come pick up your trash.
Yeah. Hashtag CNN is trash. Hashtag they're all trash.
But it's not. They're all trash. Yeah, because it's not. I mean, and I was sort of looking at that article that they had embedded my tweet in that was about the Bernie people saying CNN is trash. And I kind of took homage with some of it because they were saying that the right and the left are now agreeing that, the mainstream media is egregious and manufacturing consent, et cetera. But the problem I have is this: the Trump people, the alt-right, they're not interested in a free press. They're interested in a more flattering press, right? The reason I'm angry about this is because I'm interested in a free press. I actually think there's an obligation to truth. There's an obligation to veracity. There's an obligation to get at the root facts of something. Well,
that's the whole thing.
The reason they don't like CNN is because CNN is not flattering.
It's not flattering to Trump.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I agree. I think some people on either side of the aisle, though, do want free press. I think, for instance, when it came to Alex Jones, I was against getting that guy out of YouTube, not because I like that guy, but because
he's like tinfoil hat central.
Because then they went on and they took down a lot of channels, whether it was your channel or other channels.
Mine was
too.
Before that, so this had already been going on. But here's the thing: I think I hear what you're saying. I could understand both sides in that particular debate, because some people were saying, well, he's spreading conspiracy theory, whatever. But I also fundamentally believe that the solution to that is not less free speech, it's more free speech.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. So. Everybody, you have the freedom to say what you want to say, whether it's flattering or not. Yeah. As long as it's not, I guess it's hard to draw the line, but there is a line to be drawn.
That's the point. You can't. Yeah. It's that whole idea, that's that quote that's attributed to Voltaire, but it's actually not Voltaire, that is, I might not agree with what you have to say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it.
Absolutely.
That principle is really important, and folks need to understand it. The minute you get on that slippery slope of who gets to say what, you're on the road to fascism, whether you realize it or not.
Right. And that's why I'm against taking down Trump's tweets, because who else would I make fun
no,
of?
God, no. He's the president of the United States. They should never ban his Twitter.
Yeah.
And plus, it's so much fun to troll him.
Right. Whatever. You love or disagree with him, just fuck it. He deserves to have the right to have a Twitter account, unfortunately.
And we deserve the right to troll the crap out of him.
Oh, and just on this photo,
yes.
I went to abc7news.com/vote, and that page doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see the results.
Victory!
Because, other could also include Tulsi, Andrew Yang, especially here in California.
I'm sure that they included those candidates in there, but I believe what I'm getting at is the reason they did that is because they wanted to bury Bernie's lead.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That was the intention.
I'm sure Bernie has the biggest percentage there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, he does in
yeah.
California, at least by 2%.
Well, you could go back and look at some of the other polls, and you'll see that it's a horse race between Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie in the states. So,
and another smear against Bernie, of course, from our favorite journalist, quote,
Jennifer Rubin.
quote
She's
journalist.
yeah.
She's not a journalist.
Yeah.
She's she says Bernie, quote, I'm electable, sort of undermined by the fleet of R's rooting for him. So now Bernie went from being a communist to from a leftist crazy social commie to being now a Republican and having Republicans root for him. It's now.
So the weird thing about this, though, is Jennifer Rubin is a Republican. She's a neoconservative. So I find it so odd when she chimes in on these things in this manner. I'm just like, Jennifer, what are you saying here? Why would you? But here's the thing. Do you know what a self? Wait, that's also a giant. Scroll up. This is the first time I'm seeing this. This is a giant. Oh, I did respond to her.
You did respond.
Did I say? Oh, I just did a face palm. I love it.
You did.
So that's a total self-own, because in order to be more electable, don't you sort of have to appeal to more voters? Isn't that
in
the
order
point?
to win the general? Don't you need to get
Yes.
some Republican votes?
What does that even mean?
It means they like to lose. That's what it means. That they want to lose, in my opinion.
Jennifer Rubin.
She's awful. Another,
What was that today?
Johnny, did you have something to say? Okay. This one is the one I
no,
wanted
okay.
to get out.
This is just painful.
Yeah. This is what we were talking about, the body
language expert.
The body language expert. Let's just watch this because I think it's going to get people upset. But
Scandals hurt you more when they seem plausible, right? I mean, Bernie Sanders does have a sort of physicality, when he talks,
so
that is a shaking your finger at Hillary Clinton, shaking your finger, shovey, weirdy. His physicality makes me think, he could have said, listen, I think in this environment a woman can't win. That doesn't seem like a crazy
Well, first of
thing
all,
for him to say.
I think Bernie's lying. We see him, he slouches forward anyway, Joy, but here he turtles. If you look at his eye level where he normally answers questions, when he makes the denial, his whole shoulders come up like a little kid getting caught. His eye level is below his shoulders. This is trying to hide in plain sight. And many of us, we don't know what to look for. So if you look for this right out of the gate, and the strongest denial is simply saying no. And I think women in particular, we want to believe human beings. So we're like, I would say that. He literally said, well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it. That's 9 words. Unnecessary. No. Did you vote for Donald Trump in the last election?
Absolutely no.
Right? So no. Did you dress up as an Easter bunny on Easter?
Absolutely no.
Right? So it's no. We say no. Absolutely is actually not the strongest denial. You're playing with me here in the game, but at least you're getting the no in here. We're not hearing the no with Bernie. Also with Bernie, he has numerous hot spots. He says, well. Liars like to start with well. He looks away. He laughs. I think he might have been coached to laugh in this moment. A lot of politicians are coached to laugh in the difficult times. So we're focused on the laughter, and it's supposed to send a message that this isn't serious. It is serious. If he said it, which I believe that he did, he would have been better to just own it. Barack Obama wrote a book years ago, and he said what in the book? He tried cocaine and marijuana, and he never touched the stuff again. We never talked about it when he was president after that. If Bernie just owned it, this would disappear. We wouldn't be talking about it 6 days later.
But Bernie, he did the opposite.
that's hilarious. He laughed because it was so untrue that he was like, what? He was being gaslit. He laughed because he never said that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I laughed when I saw that. I was like, what?
What is she even? Yeah.
What is she like? That's your natural reaction sometimes when something is so ridiculous that you're like, oh, that's funny. You're crazy. You're
so
ridiculous.
I'm sending these so you can put them up on the screen to Johnny. But I went through when I saw this person, I went through and started to just pull up some of her old tweets.
She's worked for like the FBI, CIA, important agencies. She's
one of my favorites is this one. 14-year-old virgin falls pregnant after flu shot.
Is she serious? Is that a joke?
I don't know.
Well, she's not a fan of vaccinations.
Wait, hang on. Hillary did a weird adjustment when she first sat in her chair like a front wedgie.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Like, this woman is the one Joy Reid brought on to make a very valid assessment of Bernie Sanders's.
Here's another good one. When your prospect touches you, they are either signaling that you are going to get laid or they are just starting to trust you. Like,
where does she get? It seems like really bad cosmopolitan advice, like on Cosmo.
And then, of course, my other favorite one was this whole color thing. So when I read this, mind you, the first thing I thought of was Tulsi Gabbard in her white suit, right? Mm-hmm. White is connected to feelings of peace and openness. Isn't this how you feel when you see someone in white? And you know she probably hates Tulsi, right?
Probably. That is crazy. Well, that's your expert behavior person, woman for you. And you're right. It is anti-Semitic. Some of the language they were using.
It's entirely anti-Semitic. I mean, you can see her trying to like do this depiction, that old trope.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's offensive.
It's not valid. It's not like a science.
How
that
does
she's
Joy
trying
Reid
to push.
still have a job? That's what I need to understand, honestly.
Did you forget she was a Bernie supporter? Because I always forget.
Oh, I love that old tweet where she said he was the one where she said he was the salient voice or whatever the Democratic Party years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but her old tweets are just frightful.
I don't think
what is a front? Like, who tweets that Hillary has a front wedgie?
I don't think anybody wants to visualize that in their head.
I don't
and
either.
Now you
but
just
my
put it
point
out there.
my point is this is Joy Reid's expert person on body language.
Yeah, body language.
Hillary
expert.
did a weird adjustment when she first sat in the chair, like a front wedgie.
Maybe she just had a wedgie, dude.
I don't
it's
know.
Not. It's Occam's razor. It's simple. Who else has smeared Bernie other than Elizabeth Warren? So after the whole debacle,
who hasn't?
Exactly. After the whole debacle, after she accused him falsely of telling her, that a woman couldn't be president,
right.
She went on and actually did this again. And pretty much she was asked if she agreed with Bernie that Biden's record on Social Security was a liability. And she didn't really bite on that. And people had still hoped then that she would I don't know why people would hope this, because I wasn't one of them, but why that she would join and be like, oh yeah, Biden's bad.
Biden is bad. Look,
But
he has talked about cutting Social Security multiple occasions. This is not any big revelation.
No,
this has
but she
been an
hasn't-
ongoing thing. How is this not bad?
But she's placating to Biden now. That is my theory. I think she's placating to the center now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Biden's record on Social Security is a liability.
So, I believe that after a lifetime of hard work, people are entitled to retire with dignity. I have long supported expanding the Social Security system. I have a plan and have made it a central part of my campaign to expand Social Security payments by $200 a month, and I have it fully paid for. I think everyone's record on Social Security is important.
Are you concerned about...
So Alex Thompson, he writes for Politico, but I'm pretty sure at this point he's a surrogate for the Warren campaign. Like maybe not an out front one, but it seems that way. His tweet, he's basically saying some Bernie Sanders people wish that she had hit at Biden with this. I actually don't, Alex, because her doing this just puts her further away from what she appears or is trying to sell us to be. Yeah. The fact that she won't hit Biden is a problem. She was
doing everybody's on the same page here.
No, we're not on the same page, Elizabeth. We're not. That's the problem.
That's exactly.
And this is what the other thing I'm sick of and tired of is people thinking we shouldn't vet our politicians during primary election. Yes, we absolutely should. This is the time to do it. You think your fellow Democrats are going to be harder on you than the Republican Party is?
No.
Okay, but right. So why are they all complaining about, it's just mind-numbing.
I think we should be as progressives, we should, like we do criticize the Democratic Party. That's how we know we're progressives. We're not afraid to call them out on their bullshit. And the problem with the centrists is that they only like it when you talk about the Republicans, because it only diverts the attention away from them. One of the things that happened that's great news is that Pramila Jayapal endorsed Bernie Sanders. She's a longtime advocate of Medicare for All.
Yeah.
Her plan was the most progressive one and in the House. And she is now they're saying that she's going to be the National Healthcare Policy Chair for the Sanders campaign. And she is the Washington State Chair.
Yeah.
So this is a really important endorsement because she was kind of flirting with Elizabeth Warren there
Yeah,
for a
she
while.
was for a hot minute. I was a little bit surprised by that, actually.
And I was tweeting.
I'm a
like,
longtime
at her.
follower of Jayapal. I think she is a dedicated progressive for the most part.
For the most part. I mean, she's had some. She didn't. What's her name? Sarah Smith. She didn't endorse her. She endorsed Adam Smith, who was her opponent, who is a huge military-industrial complex
I can't hear Adam Smith without thinking about the invisible hand. I'm sorry.
Philosophy 101. Philosophy 101. You're such a nerd.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, I know. I thought of that too when I heard his name. But no, he's anything but that. The guy was like a neoliberal,
right?
And she endorsed him, so that was disappointing. But other than that, and her flirting with Elizabeth Warren, I'm glad she endorsed Bernie. I think it'll help him. I think it's good. I think it's far more important than a New York Times editorial board endorsement. And I think it says a lot.
Oh, I agree.
As to
I agree.
More electeds endorsing him, whether they actually like him or not. At least they're seeing the writing on the wall. They're saying, "Hey, we might have to, do this because Bernie is inevitable."
Yeah, I think. I also think that this whole NYT editorial board goes on the unendorsement list.
Yeah.
I think we put it on that list. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Let's kind of talk about the faux feminist issue too. That's kind of, they're attacking Bernie on, they're trying to paint him as a sexist, that it's her truth. Amber Tamblyn said.
Yeah. My response to her is truth isn't subjective. Truth is objective. It's verifiable. That's why it's truth. Your opinion, that's your opinion. But when people say things like it's my truth, I'm like, no.
Yeah,
that's an oxymoronic statement. It's a cop-out. So it's your opinion is what it is. But I think what really bothers me about this particular area is there are real victims of sexual harassment and rape out there.
Yep.
And to kind of conflate what is a political ploy in order to gain steps up in an election with that is insulting to victims. And it takes away, it distracts.
Exactly. It hurts them.
It hurts us.
Hurts actual victims.
Those of us that actually care about fixing sexism would not do this because it adds
it just trivializes
it trivializes. That's exactly right.
It's just because now everything is a Me Too situation. And then also
if women cannot lie. I mean, I saw one of the and there's mind you, most of these are white men saying this. Have you noticed this stuff? Isn't it you're supposed to believe all of these tweets are coming from white male? Have you noticed that?
Like white saviors.
Yeah, and it's like, what women aren't. So this guy that said that the other day, I was like, women can't lie. We're not capable of that.
Women lie.
We lie.
Everybody lies.
Everybody
That's the
lies.
thing. It's not a male or female issue. It's a everybody issue. It's a human issue. And another problem that I have with the neoliberal, faux feminist, Me Too movement is that it is not intersectional. It hasn't been for a long time in a lot of ways. And I think we as progressives have to bring that to the forefront when it's not. And the Women's March was a huge event in previous years. It had a lot of people come out there, and I've covered it a few times. And I went this past time, and it was very low in attendance. People weren't as excited about it. And Black Lives Matter was excluded from the organizing part of the Women's March and from speaking at the Women's March, which is disgusting.
It is disgusting. So there's this thing, and I call it white feminism because that's what it is. This is
Queen
really
Pumela.
Yeah, Queen Pumela. So anyone that follows me on Twitter knows I have my parody accounts, Queen Pumela, where she's the founder of the white feminist activist group Still Withering.
Still withering, and they still are.
Still are. So it really bothers me that I go back to that moment back in 2016 when you had the Christensen, what was her first name? I can't think of her name now. The delegate from Florida, from your home state, who said that she refused to vote for Obama because he was black, because she went down the list. It was one of the most racist tirades I've ever seen. In that sort of where the Puma, which is what this is, Party Unity My Ass, that's where the Puma thing was birthed. And for folks that don't know, the Puma movement was a group. It was white, wealthy women that went to vote for McCain because they thought Obama stole the election from Hillary Clinton. So this stuff's been going on for a long time. Bernie Sanders is not the first victim of this crap.
Right.
And I don't think I don't see any end to it because it just keeps just gets worse. Actually, I mean, it's like that meme that I saw today where it said, where it was this white blonde girl, and she's like, "What do you mean I can't lie? I'm a white feminist," you know. It's like,
I mean, that's pretty much it. And they exclude a lot of women of color. And another thing that they exclude, and the thing that they criticize Bernie on a lot, it's someone asked me like, hey, my friend feels like Bernie doesn't focus enough on social justice issues. How do I convince them otherwise? I'm like, he absolutely does, but he ties it to economics,
right,
which is the most important struggle, class struggle. Women as a class is the battle.
Who do they think all of these programs are going to help? Because white males are the most well paid out there. When he talks about raising the minimum wage, when he talks about income inequality, when he talks about these economic issues, we're the beneficiaries of that, not white men.
Medicare for all
of
birth
it,
control,
all of it,
pregnancy, paid leave.
But this is really egregious and disgusting. How did this happen?
It basically they asked and we're waiting to be included. They asked the organizers of the Women's March.
Melina Abdullah. So she was a professor in the program where I got my master's degree, FYI, as a sidebar. Yeah. She's one of the founders of the LA chapter of Black Lives Matter.
And she's a huge
She's fabulous.
Activist.
She's a huge activist. Yeah. She's incredibly well-spoken, talented. Look up some of her speeches if you're unfamiliar. I couldn't get that word out with her. But Melina Abdullah is pretty amazing. Yeah. So she wrote an article. Good for her, and because that's unacceptable.
And I'm not gonna lie that that the entire thing, for the short time that I was there, because I could not stand being there, it was the majority of white women. And I'm not an identity politics person. I'm not a fan of the identity politics in a vacuum. It has to be backed by something. Like your identity is important if you're fighting for actual economic justice. Yeah. Like if you're not tying that together, then there's really nothing to do. And
well, the bigger problem I have too is that it's vacuous in the sense that people coalesce around ideologies more than anything else.
Symbolic.
And it sort of imposes this idea that groups are monolithic. And I have this, like, I've seen the Pumas do it. The Pumas believe they believe every group is monolithic, and if you don't agree with them, it's like, oh, poor dear, you just don't know any better. Let me help you.
Bless your heart,
which is incredibly racist when you think about it. You're assuming that this person has no agency. It's condescending as fuck. But they do this time and time again, and they don't even hear the problem with it.
Yeah, exactly. And especially right now that today was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Bernie made a speech today on MLK, and one of the quotes he said was, "Dr. King was a nonviolent revolutionary who wanted to see our nation undergo a radical revolution of values against not just the evils of Jim Crow and segregation, but also the triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism." And this is the crux of Bernie's movement, and how I answer any of this things where, oh, he's not much of a feminist and he doesn't care about social justice issues. He does, because through caring about the issues of poverty and class warfare, those issues come up, and that's how you bring people together against the capitalist oligarchy. And MLK knew this, and I believe this is why he was assassinated. Johnny, you had a couple things to say?
Yeah, so today is the MLK Jr. Day, and if you guys didn't know, the CIA and the FBI together assassinated MLK Jr., and there was a trial about it. And first of all, I just want to show this this post from Lee Camp. It says, "The FBI assassinated MLK because his principles and fearlessness threatened the white supremacy at the heart of capitalism and U.S. hegemony." And then there was this other picture I wanted to show. Immoral technique, he says, "First they criminalize you, then they kill you, and then they act like they agreed with you all along." Because now we have his day, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's kind of like he was supposed to be a martyr, you know, and they kind of ruined the martyr movement.
They took out the fact that he was a socialist. They never talk about that. Whenever I was taught about MLK in school, they completely skipped over his theories on economic theory.
Yeah, he spoke deeply about poverty and class. The reason he made poverty part of his, towards the end there, mainly part of his platform, was because he realized that poverty economics was the thing that affected his community the most.
Exactly.
One of my favorite quotes of his is, "You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps if you don't have any boots."
That sums it up. That pretty much sums it up.
Right, and didn't he say they have money for wars but don't have money for the poor?
Yeah, there's a great speech, if you can find it, Johnny, that all of that's in. It was towards the end before he was killed, before he was assassinated, but it was inside of a church. I don't remember which church, but it's a great speech if you can find it.
In this book that Tulsi Gabbard was seen reading, in which I ordered immediately because I was wondering what a presidential candidate was reading.
That's, yeah.
A presidential candidate like Tulsi Gabbard. I just want to read this real quick passage. It just says, let's see. 31 years later, I learned much more about King's murder. I attended the only trial ever held for it. So this is the author, James W. Douglas. He says, the trial took place in Memphis, only a few blocks from the Lorraine Motel where King was killed, in a wrongful death lawsuit initiated by the King family. 70 witnesses testified over a 6-week period. They describe a sophisticated government plot that involved the FBI, the CIA, the Memphis police, mafia intermediaries, and an Army Special Forces sniper team. The 12 jurors, 6 black and 6 white, returned after 2.5 hours of deliberation with a verdict that King had been assassinated by a conspiracy that included agencies of his own government.
Wow. Yeah,
I
had no idea. I had no
I'm fully
idea
expecting
about
an
this.
Oliver Stone movie on this any day now.
Yeah, Johnny, get to it.
I had no
Get on
idea
that.
about
Please.
any of this because, they don't teach you this in school. They
No.
don't teach you this.
They just teach you the surface of, he fought for the civil rights movement, which is it. Nobody's minimizing that. But they specifically put out the fact that he was pretty much saying capitalism had lived out its use, is one of the quotes he said.
Yeah, here's the thing that I think folks need to realize, and you're reminding me of that guy Wise who was going after Bernie the other day about his commentary to the New York Times editorial staff on economics and on class and race issues. And he kind of really missed the point of what Bernie was getting at. It was kind of like, and then he completely bastardized Karl Marx in a sense where I had to quote tweet him. But the point being that Marx isn't saying, Marx is not making the claim that getting rid of capitalism will get rid of racism. That's
right.
Not, I mean, we're talking about conditions that are both necessary and sufficient, right? So what Karl Marx is saying is that capitalism undergirds the racist system. Right. Without capitalism, there's nothing to like further it forward, the racism forward. So if you eliminate capitalism, you don't eliminate racism, but you eliminate the engine that makes it grow and flourish.
Right.
And those are two different arguments. And I don't know why these folks keep trying to say that, like, well, why do you say if we eliminate the economic problems, the racism will disappear? Nobody's claiming that. And here's the other thing. You can't get inside a racist's head and make him change his opinions.
Right.
That is unfortunately true. I wish we could.
Yes.
I wish we could, but that's just not reality. We can't have her do something about what happens when people are racist and they keep the education system poor in these communities, when they don't hire you because of your race, when they don't pay you as well because of your race, when they tell you can't get a mortgage, when you go through Jim Crow laws, like all of that stuff.
And when you're fighting for limited resources and you're pitted against the other.
That's
and
right.
you have more in common. For example, we have far more in common with our so-called enemies in Iran, the civilians in Iran, than we do with the leaders in power that are waging these wars. And that's something we always have to remember. We together have more in common. And when you eliminate that idea that I have to put you down so I can succeed, it's going to definitely affect.
It's the othering. And this is so that's the part 2 of this equation, is that the othering happens. So now the plutonomy, or the people in charge, are going to tell you to blame the others for your own poverty, instead of realizing that that's a tool of manipulation by the elite class.
Right.
So
you
and
should
that's
be
what,
looking at this whole time.
Yeah, and so that's what Bernie was getting at, and he's completely right about this. I mean, look at Nazi Germany. It's a prime example. The income inequality was soaring at that time. And when you have really severe income inequality, it just makes the environment more ripe for white nationalism, for white supremacy, for more racism, more anti-Semitism, and we're seeing that now.
And
We're seeing that now.
I think the vision that both Bernie and MLK and John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy were all aiming for.
And Tina-Desiree Berg.
And Tina-Desiree Berg. And Fiorella Isabel. And Jonny Tsunami. And Pasta Jardula. The vision we were all going for is to build a community that works together.
Correct.
So the money's not an issue. And you can work on the ideas to create this nice community, come together. Collectivism. And then racism won't exist because you're all doing what you dream of wanting to do, right?
I mean, it's not going to be right away.
It won't be. It takes time.
But look how much has happened in the last 50 years.
That we want to build.
Look how much has happened in the last 50 years, like you aren't born that way.
So do you think we can actually eliminate racism? That's the question on the table, I guess.
I think we can.
That's a tough question.
I think you can lower it a lot.
I think you can lower the volume on it
a lot.
Yeah. I think it's a social conditioning. I don't think people are born racist. I don't believe that at all.
I think
it
would devolve into something else. Maybe 1,000 years from now, we're not going to like people with ears or something like that. It could be something as stupid as that. But I think human involvement, it just becomes unnecessary. Because again, if we look back in history, the poor whites were told that the blacks were their problem.
Well, if everybody has enough, if there's no false scarcity, it certainly takes the what's the phrase I'm looking for?
The brunt.
It just becomes weaker.
I just want to make clear that the book also gives references, and there's a reference to the transcript of the trial of the Martin Luther King, and I just want to show you guys where you can find that, where it has recordings. And I was up till one of the nights where I was up till 5 a.m. because after I read the book, I had to go and do my research on it. Is ratsicolt.org/ratville/JFK/MLK Act/. So if you want to check that out, that has the whole freaking trial, and it's like a multiple day trial, and it's the only trial that was held for the assassination of Martin Luther King. So yeah, it has everything in here.
Wow.
The complete trial transcript. Yep, that's it.
Awesome. Anything else, Johnny?
Yeah, Pasta. Where's Pasta again? Did we say that in the beginning? I don't think we did.
No.
He's coming back tomorrow.
Pasta will be back tomorrow. And we're going to have 2 interviews. Johnny, who are we having on?
We're having Ruben Major.
I love Ruben.
And Aura Vasquez.
Oh, right.
Awesome.
Both in-studio guests.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Full studio. Okay,
it's
awesome.
It's going to be a busy day tomorrow.
Yeah, busy day tomorrow. So thanks, guys, for watching. Thank you, guys. Please support us on our Patreon and sign up for Rockfin.
Yeah,
it's a cryptocurrency platform. It's much better than YouTube. It's going to be the replacement. I mean, they're shutting us out on YouTube, so we have to go to other platforms. Tina can also attest to how it's a great platform. And
it's designed more like a co-op for the creators, so they share the wealth much better than corporate platforms do.
And it's decentralized.
And it's decentralized.
The whole point of decentralization, if maybe our viewers don't know, is to take away a middleman of who's governing everything, right?
That's kind of what I envision for a general form of government. Not.
And if you're not into crypto, you should definitely get into crypto. First of all, join Coinbase.com. There's all these startups. They're decentralizing everything, and they're just starting. So if you get in on it now, it's gonna scale up, just like Bitcoin. Imagine if you could get into Bitcoin before it was Bitcoin, right? If you could buy it when it was $13 and now it's $9,000, imagine that. That's what Rockfin's doing. That's what Ray Token is doing. Get in on it.
Get in on it, guys. And we're also still hosting our GoFundMe. We are trying to go to New Hampshire, Florida, Iowa, obviously Nevada. And hopefully we can make that happen to get you guys so much footage, because people are very, very worried about the election process this time around. Bernie Sanders is in the lead. And so there are a lot of people out there that are going to do everything they can to stop him. So,
fam, do we want to do an update on that, or do we want to update that?
We'll update it tomorrow.
Or Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll do a shout out for everybody on Wednesday.
Yes. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Tina for being my co-host for today. And bye. Convo Couch. Convo out.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Do you want to shout out some people? Let's shout out some people. What's up? Jack Sif, Kathleen, I see y'all on MCSC Network. Rafael Rodriguez. What's up? Choctaw. You being good over there? Crypto isn't dead. Varathius shepherd ducks.
Interesting.
Let me go on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. I don't have it up.
Steve
Sorry,
Wolfbrand.
Facebook. Sup, Steve?
Jackie Pagu. Rebecca
Hi, Jackie.
Wolfersberger. Jacinta, what's up?
Hi, Jacinta.
Roshan.
Hi, Roshan.
What's up? Sarah Williams, always there. Paul.
Hi, Sarah.
Paul Cherry. Manuel Zapata. Let's see. On Rockfin, we had Glory Jones. Hey, y'all better start going on Rockfin and commenting on Rockfin, or just have both of them up or something.
Yeah. Rockfin helps
and
out.
so we're eventually gonna make the transition to only Rockfin, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up? Twitch, simple average person.
Twitchers, Periscope.
Let me pull up Periscope. Some people watch on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because it tells you when it's live. Both of them up or something.
Yeah. Rockfin helps out.
And so we're eventually going to make the yeah, I don't see anybody on Periscope.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Convo out.
Thank you.
Bye.